As we enter into this space, practicing what we practice and knowing what we know, we begin taking that pausing breath, breathing in all of the gift of life, and as we exhale, releasing everything to allow ourselves to begin at the beginning. And it is from that point that it is my privilege and my pleasure to say, happy day after the Preakness Stakes, beautiful people. I am Reverend Vicki Jeter, your minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. We thank you for being with us on this May 17th of 2026. We welcome all paths to God. We welcome your challenges and your questions. All pieces and paths of spirit, all areas of life, and all parts of ourselves are essential to a world that truly works for all. So whether you're here with us for the first time or the second time, or whether you've been with us from the very beginning, or if you're watching us on YouTube, we thank you for being with us because you are why we're here. Now, today is Hat Day, as Reverend Carolyn is at the helm of our message, which is carrying our doubt together. Some of you know that the theme right now for the month of May is doubt. And so today we're looking at how we hold the field of doubt collectively and what does that mean on a spiritual level. So, as a fun, immediate example of this, let me start by saying that a horse named Napoleon Solo won the second of the Triple Crown races last night. I don't know if any of you got to see it or stopped to think about the fact that this was it. His name, Napoleon Solo, comes from a character in the 1960s TV series Man from U.N.C.L.E., which some of you may recall is kind of like a Get Smart kind of a show. His rider was a young man named Paco Lopez, and this win was the first for any of the people that was on this team. None of them had won anything close to something like one of the Triple Crown races. And they carried a great deal of uncertainty together as a team because this little horse, when he was 2 years old, he was winning everything. And they really thought he was up and running to be a Triple Crown winner. And then, lo and behold, as he got into the place where he was doing the pre-races that get you into being a Triple Crown racer, things started to happen. He had injuries and this and that. And so as he came up to the 2 races just prior to the Triple Crown that pretty much you need to enter into for people to take you seriously, he came in 5th in both of those races. And because of that, they elected not to enter him into the Derby. They still had faith in him, but they were being judicious and operating under discretion, and they elected not to ask him to run the Derby, but they wanted to aim for the Preakness. They had it in mind that that would be the next time that they really figured he would have a chance to reemerge as the horse that they saw in him for the whole time he was a 2-year-old. And sure enough, there you go. It's a fantastic race, and if you want to give yourself a treat, just look up the Preakness of 2026, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, all of this moves us into the space for opening prayer. So let's take an opportunity. First, drop in and see what brought you to be with us today. And I want to invite us to also recognize that we come into this opportunity in community. The subject of so many things that we're entering into, and it's impossible to see how any of it's going to work out necessarily, except for right we're in the moment, you know? And so just see if you can tap into where your personal doubts have been and notice that we're all together with the purpose of learning more from Spirit through each other about how we succeed at this collectively and continue to trust the process with conviction. That practically is our opening prayer. However, still, we stop and we take the time to engage those 5 steps. The 5 steps that are about bringing the praying person to the space of doubtless conviction in the power of the word. And we say, I recognize there is one life, one love, one infinite, everlasting, creative presence that I call Holy Spirit by any name, that is the all that is all of existence. And as it is the all that is all, it is all I am. As Spirit is the all that is all, it is all through everyone within the sound of my voice, in common and yet uniquely, always balancing that paradox. And from this alignment in mind, heart, and soul, I realize in my experience of this opportunity today that with Reverend Carolyn at the helm, as a vessel of purity, that her word is the word of the divine moving through her at the level that meets each and every person that hears the message where they are, and that Spirit takes care of the collective so long as we are open and willing and knowing that we are doing it together. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for all of this and more, manifest at the level of the highest and best experiences. With the heart of a child, I release it, I let it be, and so it is. And this brings us to our opening song, Nearer Than the Air, by our beloved Michael Gott.
It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I am touched by amazing grace. And all I ever wanted, and all I ever needed, was already there. Closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air. And I am filled with the Spirit, and it is health to my body, it is peace to my mind, it is joy, it is joy to my soul. Simple prayer of thank you, and my breath becomes a song that we're singing all along, that is singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. I breathe in, and I am filled with the Spirit. Oh, it is health to my body. It is peace to my mind. It is joy, it is joy, it is joy, joy to my soul. And I breathe out my simple prayer. Thank you. And my breath becomes a song that we're singing all along, that is singing everywhere. It is nearer than the air. It's like the air around me. It's like the sunlight on my face. I feel the love of God surround me. I am touched by amazing grace. And all I ever wanted, and all I ever needed, was already there, closer than the sunlight, nearer than the air.
Such an incredibly lovely song. And I'm so grateful to the people that put that particular video behind it. Taking a breath, as you all know, this is normally the introduction to the practitioner of the week. And this week on schedule was our delightful Miss Katrina Doro. Katrina last night had something come up this absolutely necessarily called her forth to be with her family, which I kind of take in a little divine right order because I actually love being a practitioner. And so because Reverend Carolyn is speaking, then you guys don't have to hear me do everything. And I said, I'll just do practitioner. So we're on to announcements. And our first announcement is our Magic of the Soul book study. We had essentially 8 people yesterday for the first day of our book study. Some people were not quite able to be there, but everybody is agreeing that this is such an awesome experience to bring into your resources as a soul. And so if you were not able to come this week, do not let that deter you from engaging in this experience. It's a phenomenal community experience. There is no charge. It's love offering, which are gratefully embraced, but absolutely just come for the experience. I recommend getting the book, as certainly having it as a whole is going to be a good thing, but we're listening to it on Audible. So you can come and be as fully part of the conversation, even if you don't have the book. And for the moment, that is all that I will have to say about that. It is on Saturdays, um, from 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. on this Zoom. Go ahead, Vernon. Next week, I am your speaker, and we're still embracing divine doubt. Next week, we'll be diving into communal uncertainty, which is a little bit different flavor than holding it together as we are today. And that will remain to be seen, just exactly how that is. I hope you can be here. Now, coming into our financial update, as ever, our budget for the month of May is $2,550. And so far, our income for the month has been $1,082.76. And this means that by the end of May, we need to receive $1,467.24. I absolutely know that we can do this. And collectively, I'm calling for each and every one of you to know with me at that conviction of faith in the unseen, at the spiritual level of that, trusting the process, that we will make our May budget. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the prayer for sharing time today. And of course, after service, we do have sharing time, especially for those who are new here. Every Sunday, we have the space for people to just be able to actually talk about what is happening for you, what might have impressed you about the service, or any questions that you have. And that happens immediately after service for up to 30 minutes. We do have a time limit. We don't tend to go over 30 minutes. And sometimes we get done with sharing time early. But please do stay if you're available. And now this brings us into our declarations and affirmations, and we begin with our purpose. I do encourage everyone to say this out loud as we go along, unless you just really prefer not to. The purpose of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to be a vital hub of beloved community. We learn and practice care and creativity for the gift of life as vessels of oneness, a synergy of spirit, soul, mind, and body for all beings, which is the foundation of our mission and vision. Our mission is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind and celebrating all paths to God, which then manifests our vision of a world that truly honors and respects all people. And yes, I know I threw truly in there. I invite you to bring these alive for yourselves. It's not going to hurt anything. Now, our declaration of what we believe for applicability to today's message, this is a little longer, but just sit with it with me. I do invite you to say this aloud. Have you ever told a lie and then forgot it was a lie? When you tell a story for long enough, you begin to believe it. We adorn ourselves with any number of distractions from the self. We embrace mirages in response to cues from the outside world that are not safe, loved, or welcomed. And then we do it long enough and we think that that's the basis of reality. Taking a breath. I'm going to take a little pause here because I know you all have heard a lot of my voice. And here we come into sacred reading and meditation, and I know you all love our practitioners. I know that that shift in energy and in voice is so beloved. However, it is my joy to bring this to you today. And we'll start, this is going to be classically a reading and then a meditation. I do invite you to relax into that space of receptivity. This will lay the foundation for Carolyn's message. Doubt is not a permanent experience within the act of faith. It is always present as an element in the structure of faith itself. Doubt can function as devotion, keeping faith honest with itself, humble, and open. Doubt arises when we confront the magnitude of what we seek, reflecting the depth of our devotion in the process. If doubt appears, it should not be considered a negation of faith, but as an element always present in the act of faith itself. It's part of the process. Existential doubt, which means our human, our human projections, etc., existential doubt and faith are poles of the same reality. The paradox, the poles of paradox, the state of ultimate care and concern. St. John of the Cross's Dark Night of the Soul is one of the most influential spiritual treasures on this theme. He describes the dark night as a profound spiritual crisis in which the soul loses emotional consolation, clarity, and spiritual reassurance. Yet this doubt is not failure. It is a purifying process that removes the reliance on feelings and leads to deeper union with God as the source. The soul continues to pray and remain faithful despite uncertainty, making doubt a vehicle for devotion rather than its opposite. St. John's insight is that the dark night is not just a temporary low point, but a transformative stage in spiritual growth. When emotional comfort is gone, the seeker is invited to stop depending on feelings and instead build faith rooted in God's presence, even when it does not appear to be real. In this way, doubt becomes devotion because the person keeps choosing faith even when they don't feel it. The most honest test of faith is doubt, and it is not the enemy of faith, but its most honest test. When we choose devotion over withdrawal, we discover that faith is not a fixed feeling, but a living practice, one that grows stronger each time we return to it, even in the dark. Doubt is not failure. It is a purifying process. And so we breathe. Take a moment to breathe and receive. See where that message lands for you, as Tammy Ellis is so good at reminding us to do. Let it go deeper than your cognitive mind. Let it go deeper than your ears. See where even one pearl in that message finds your heart. And from that place, I invite us into our meditation, which this week is the inner healing experience. And this is an opportunity for declaration and then saying it for yourself. When I get to the end of each of these sections, you'll see you have an opportunity to make choices along the way. Universal love enfolds me. Universal wisdom inspires me. Universal spirit enlightens me. Universal power encircles me. I am one, and all is well. As we begin the inner healing process, Let me invite you to close your eyes and relax in quiet confidence, opening yourself to the miracle-working higher power. Now, symbolize the unity of your thinking and feeling nature by touching your chest with your right hand, and let my words act as your own for your own inner acceptance and receptivity. I acknowledge that there is a power, intelligence, and wisdom greater than my own. I am in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of me, sensitive and responsive to my every thought, word, action, and feeling. I now make this true for myself by saying aloud, I acknowledge. Acknowledging the higher power working through my life, I admit that I am personally responsible for solving my own problems, while being guided and assisted by something greater than myself. As I am ready to surrender the conflicts of my ego to the wisdom of the infinite presence, I simply speak these words. I surrender. Knowing that forgiveness is the key to unconditional love and the kingdom of heaven, I now unconditionally forgive anyone and everyone who has ever injured me in any way, real or imagined. And I now forgive myself for all my mistaken judgments and their resulting actions. From my deepest level of understanding, now I say, I forgive. Realizing that I continually experience the effects of my own thinking, I now choose to allow this higher power to recreate me deeply, filling my mind with thoughts that are only constructive, positive, loving, and beautiful. I call upon this divine inflow by stating aloud, I choose. I now center upon that one special idea I am willing to accept as real for me in this coming week, visualizing the idea as already acted upon and brought to pass. In seeing my idea become a fact of my experience, I enjoy the happiness and peace of my thought fulfilled and gratefully speak these words. I accept. Knowing that I have an everlasting place in the midst of the power that sustains all creation, as well as the support of everyone around me, I allow myself to relax in the peace of fulfillment and gratitude and say, I release. Now I call to mind the face of someone who has touched my life in powerful, wonderful ways, a friend or family member or a teacher of mine, someone who's not physically present here in the room today. I turn toward that face in my mind's eye and say, I am grateful for the good in your life. I now open my eyes to the world around me. I turn joyfully to the Zoom box next to me and share my gratitude and confidence by saying, I am grateful for the good in your life. And that is based on the work of Dr. Jack Boland. And this brings us to the time of our special music, This Is Me. And this is by a lovely, lovely ensemble that I'd never heard of before. It's called From the Sparkle Conference that actually happens every year, and it is in honor actually of women's health. And you'll hear one thing she'll say at the very end, so that I just wanted to say that so you guys won't be confused.
I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say. We don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say. No one will love you as you are, but I won't let them break break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we're glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna stand flat, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. Well, far away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades and reaching for the sun. Yeah, that's what we've become. I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for your glorious. When the sharp swords wanna cut me down, I'm gonna stand apart, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, and I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen, I make no apologies. This is me. This is me. And I know that I deserve your love. There is no when the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna stand flat, gonna drown them out. This is brave, this is bruised, this is who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come, marching on, marching, marching on. Yeah, this is me. Whoa, I'm gonna stand apart, I'm gonna drown them. Yeah, this is me. We love you, ladies. Have a good time. We'll see you next year.
Good morning. It's really a lot of fun to see what Vicki will come up with each week. She comes up with the most amazing videos, and I just loved that one. And I loved our first opening song, Closer Than the Air. And so I really appreciate what she does and enjoy what she does. Carrying Our Doubt Together. When I first read the title, I thought, oh, what am I going to do with that? But then things just sort of came together. I'm going to talk about later on one of what I think is a universal doubt that we all have. and talk about how we can look at changing that down and accepting the truth of who we are. All right. It, the theme, yeah, one of the things that is pointed out is that there is collective doubt, that we all are a part of it in different ways and in different subject matters and all of that. And we have a tendency to isolate. We have suffering and we keep it to ourselves. We don't really share it a lot with other people, which of course increases the suffering. If we can share it, if we can be open with what's going on in our lives and what we have fear and doubt about, it will help us to carry that and to be different with it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're exploring divine doubt. Um, we have doubts about ourselves. We have doubts about the universe. We'd have doubts about how it all works. But we can learn to lay aside, or at least minimize, those doubts. One of the affirmations is, I share the power and potential of collective curiosity. Doubt leads us to curiosity. When we're doubting something, we're curious about, why is it working that way? Why am I experiencing that way? And that curiosity becomes a power for learning and growing and discovering new and wonderful things. Let me have the first slide, Vernon. I share the power and potential of collective curiosity. It's not something that we choose to do. It's just something that is. When you have doubts, you end up with curiosity, or you're really closed down and experiencing life. Curiosity leads to exploration and searching, and these lead to revelation and growth. Shared curiosity leads to community. So we welcome curiosity. We see it as a power for discovery, a power for good. And it is something that when it comes up, we give some energy to it and explore it, and we explore it together. Thank you, Vernon. So, excuse me. There is a fellowship of suffering, a community of sufferers. It is true that suffering leads to isolation of the individual. You get a single focus when you're suffering, whether it's body pain and that's all you really think about, or it's emotional, or it's intelligence, or whatever it might be. When you're suffering, it becomes your focal point. It becomes where you put a lot of energy. And it's not always good, positive energy. Most of the time, it can be destructive. But if you see it and you know that that's what you're doing, then you can choose to be different in it. And that's what we're talking about, is how you look at what's going on in your life. Where are you putting tons of energy? Is it your emotions? Is it your body? Is it your intelligence? Is it a single person, a single situation? Where is it that you're putting a lot of energy? What keeps coming up? And if you look at that, then you get the opportunity to be curious about it. Why are you in this pain? Why is it so overpowering? Why? And you get curious, and then you get to look at it. And one of the things we're talking about this morning, and encouraged this morning, is that when you do that, if you can employ your connections with others, whether it's a single other or a whole community of others, that you share the load and you share the understanding and you enjoy the support of others. So as I was looking at this and thinking about it and talking about in my mind what I was going to do with it, I found this book. Well, can you see it? Yeah, there you go. Wait, there you go. Oh, you can't read it. Uh, it's 150 years of healing. And you'll remember that I spent several months talking about it. And what I did was I took a chapter, and each chapter was focused on one healer, somebody from our history that was known for healing. And it came from Quimby, who started the whole thing, to all the way down to Ernest Holmes, and a lot of people in between. And we would talk about it. We'd talk about their ministry and how they brought healing to themselves and to others. And I love that because I'm fascinated by where healing comes. You know, it shows up. We've all experienced it. At least I hope so. And we've all seen it in others. And we know it's there. We somehow know that our way of being should be health, that what we were created for was health and wealth and goodness and joy and life. And why are we not experiencing it? And why is it that some can, that some will take their life experience it and turn it into something glorious and wonderful, or at the least release themselves from pain? So I'm fascinated by that. So I really enjoyed this book about reading that. So when I found it, I realized I had just the end of the book to finish. It was funny. How can you lose a book in a house that's my size? And well, I just don't have a lot of nooks and crannies. And it was in a file folder inside my file cabinet next to my desk. How it got there, I have no idea. Why it stayed there for quite a while and then showed up, I have no idea. But I'm thankful that it did. So the next people they're talking about is Barbara Marks Hubbard and Mary Ann Williamson. They have both individually been healers and teachers for a long time, but they've come together. And their vision is for a way of life and governance that honors individuals and the ecosystems they depend on. They're talking about changing the whole world, changing the experience of life all around the world to be one where the governance is beneficial and for the people and really helps and really serves, and that people individually enjoy a good life, a well life, a happy life. And so that's their vision. And when you read it and think about it, you think, that's a vision. That's big. And it is. And yet they know it's possible. And so they spend all their energy talking about it, teaching about it, and experiencing it in their individual situations and with the groups that they're a part of. So that's wonderful. And then he went to the last chapter. This is quite a chapter. It talks about how all of the healers have the same basic understandings and beliefs. For a healer, they all believe that it is possible to change the condition of the body by changing the mental processes. Whether it's Quimby or Holmes or Eddie or whoever you're talking about, that there is a way to do that it happens. We can change our circumstances through our mental expression. Second, they all believed that it's possible to change the conditions of the body by changing those mental processes. Quimby was the first to do it. They all believe in a higher power, a spiritual presence that is infinite intelligence and wisdom, whose body is the universe, and to who is present throughout the universe, to the smallest and in the greatest part of it. Spirit is everywhere. It's in all time. It's in all place. It is everywhere. And it is consciousness. And that consciousness is expressed through each and every one of us and through all all the things that are here, all the people that are here, the consciousness of spirit, the spirit is present and expressing and available to anyone who becomes aware and makes themselves available to it. Fourth, they all trust that that power is loving. The power that is all is loving and supportive and available and all powerful and there for us, not against us. That little phrase right there comes up in the first class that we encourage everybody to take, the fundamentals. And I have over the years sat in classes and said that phrase, God is for you, not against you. And I've had people get it and be just overwhelmed because it's so important. In some of the basic religions, the one I was raised in, and many others, you have the idea that God is checking off to see if you're okay and if he can love and support you. And if you screw up, oh boy, are you in trouble. That's not what the understanding of people who believe in healing and experience it is. God is not checking off good points and bad points. God is there. Spirit is there. It's for you always in all situations. And they rely on the capacity of the individual to let go of old patterns and enjoy new experiences. He doesn't stop just there. Yes, that's all the things that people who do healing, the basic things that their teachings are based on. Their teachings can be very, very different, and their expression can be very, very different. But it comes down to the ability of the mind to control conditions through the love of spirit. So then he goes on to do something that is amazing and wonderful and wow. He proves it scientifically. He shows us that scientists of today in the lab are proving what spiritualists have been telling us for centuries. Consciousness is universal. They first figured out the universe is based on particles and waves. And when they first started, a particle was a particle and a wave was a wave. But in their experiments, they found out that wasn't true. A particle can become a wave, and a wave can become a particle, and it can change instantly. And that threw them for a loop. And they have been working with that ever since. And they keep telling us that where waves and particles can change through the consciousness around them. A scientist doing an experiment, measuring waves, looking at waves, and they change. And they have become to understand that part of it is what that scientist is thinking. If the scientist is thinking that it's going to be a wave and it changes, it's because of his or her consciousness. What that individual is thinking, our group is thinking, changes the very basis of the elements of the universe in an instant to be something totally different. Wow. Our mind, our consciousness affects the consciousness of everything else around us. We, in our thoughts, are affecting everything around us constantly because that's the way the world works. That's the way the universe was created and is. They talk about this one, just throws me every time I hear it. There is more space in an atom than there is in the universe. How does that work? I don't know how that works. I've heard it. I've heard quantum physicists talk about it, and I accept that they're telling me the truth, but my mind is not able to really understand it. I can't understand how distant the universe is, how big it is, how many planets there are, how many galaxies there are. And we're a small galaxy, and there's so many of them. How do we explain that? How do we understand that? I don't know. I just accept it. I know that people that are smarter than I am, I have figured that out. So when they say that most of everything is just empty space, whether it's your body or that rock or that star or whatever it is, it's mostly empty space, and it is conscious. You know, we like to think that we're the conscious ones. We're the ones that have consciousness and can make choices. And yet, when they study, they find that the smallest being, an amoeba or whatever small, and the largest and the most alive in our definition of alive, and the most not alive, they're all conscious, able to act to their environment. That just blows me away. If I can get that, and if I can fully understand that spirit is consciousness, spirit is everywhere all the time, spirit is responding to me and my thoughts and my choices constantly. Wow. I get it sometimes, fleetingly, but I do get it. And I know that I will get it more and more. I'm just blown away by the whole thing. Let me have the second slide, Vernon. I've got a little carried away because this is the stuff that changes our lives. The other thing that they have figured out is that love is the only powerful enough to lift the chains of bondage off the human race and cast them off for good. Love, expressing love, receiving love, being love, knowing love. That's the power that will lift us from the chains of bondage and put us out for good, cast us for the good, and put us in the position of expressing more and more perfection. Love. How can you in your life experience it more? How can you share it more? How can you understand love in all situations? Invite it in, express it, share it, and trust it to be the most powerful energy there is, the most powerful power. Everything is energy. Your body, thank you, Vernon. Your body is a system of energy systems. Your body is made up of these energy systems. Your heart system is an energy system. Your brain, your bodily functions, they're all energy systems. The universe is energy expressing, and it is different energy systems. It takes us from thinking of things as finite to understanding that things are infinite, not just spirit, because spirit is everything. You're infinite. I'm infinite. Our energy systems are expressing and will continue to express because that's the way life is created and that's the life it expresses. Let's have the third one, Vernon. We may say that the universe has consciousness, is a field of infinite possibility, out of which all matter and energy take form, and that this consciousness is present in and through all space and time. The universe has consciousness. The universe is consciousness, and it is a field of infinite possibility, out of which all matter and energy take form. This consciousness is present in and through all space and time. Thank you, Vernon. So I take a breath and I let it be. And I know that the words that I've spoken have touched individuals as they were meant to and they were ready for. And I am very, very grateful. And so in this moment, I focus on my internal being, on spirit expressing as me and everyone within the sound of my voice. And I focus on the reality that as we express, spirit says yes. So as we express love and encourage love and choose love, spirit always says yes. And I am so very grateful for the knowing, for the understanding, and for the growing acceptance of truth, the truth of being. And it is in this moment that I take a deep breath and I let the words and the knowledge and the spirit settle within this moment in time. And with great joy, I celebrate life. With great joy, I celebrate love. With great joy, I celebrate curiosity. And so, join me in sealing the words, sealing the feeling, and knowing truth with the words. And so it is.
And now we have the opportunity to take this fabulous atmosphere right into our giving time. And when I realized I was going to have the opportunity to be the practitioner of the day, I realized that Spirit was presenting us an opportunity to walk our talk and to take up what I am realizing is a challenge, if you will, in the spiritual classroom. Because I absolutely know that when we look at the space that we're in, needing to make our financial budget in human terms, we have just over $1,400 that we need to move through this little multiplying basket by the end of the month. And anyone looking at that individually on a human level could so easily project forward and fall into a space of human doubt. And yet, this is exactly what we're talking about. To hold our doubt together in human terms, I'm inviting each and every one of you who are here today to be a part of the net that is practicing exactly what Reverend Carolyn has just offered us and what Centers for Spiritual Living is offering us as a month of understanding, that we can leverage what starts out as human doubt, convert it into curiosity. And so I would like each and every one of you to take a moment, see where you land with this, and find your curiosity just exactly how Spirit is going to deliver us to the place that we have made our May budget. I absolutely know that Spirit sources its works. I absolutely know that this community is a work of Spirit. And so, as students of Spirit, as two students of this teaching, let us take up this opportunity and absolutely know that we are guided, guarded, directed, and protected to the actions, to the conversations, to the depth of prayer that brings us to the point that by the 31st of May, we are celebrating that as a community, we demonstrated this truth. And so we breathe. And what I know to be true is that every human speaking of the word, it is the word of Spirit moving through the human. But on that level, It's about receptivity because the gift has already been given. We reach out our hands and we sweep up the quantum field that Carolyn spoke of, and we know that it comes together according to our intention. And so as that happens, this little multiplying basket is simply all about broadening and deepening the receptivity. And so it is from that place of receptivity taken to a whole new level that I say, yes, I'll take more of that, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for the good that has been for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living that becomes the good that is in this moment and will be moving forward. And with that conviction of faith and the heart of a child, I release it, I let it be, and so it is. Say with me now, if you would please, our May prosperity clarity. Money comes to me as easily as being with my best friend. And with that, don't we know, we are absolutely magnificent. Take a look at that little baby and know that a little baby that loves itself just like that lives within you. Look in the mirror and try kissing yourself and follow the master model for self-love. Now we invite you to enjoy our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, by the Christian and Catholic Choir. Relaxing into our benediction. Say with me, if you will, our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting. The soul that rises with us, our life's star, hath had elsewhere its setting, and cometh from afar. Not in entire forgetfulness, not in unconsciousness, but trailing clouds of glory do we come from God. Who is our home. Heaven lies about us in our infancy.